So we are back out here in the outdoors of Alaska, the largest state in the United States. Now today we're discussing 3 different field watches. The first one's going to be the Boderry Voyager. That's the full titanium watch I've already done a review on. The next one is going to be the Cronos Explorer. That's that classic Rolex homage that we've all come to love. And the last one is going to be the Avtrek compass watch. Now clearly 2 of the watches are similar, and the third one you'd think is going to be the winner and why you'd want that instead. But really we're going to get into the nitty and gritty of why maybe you'd want an automatic, or maybe why you just want the compass watch, or maybe both. Now they say that a survival situation normally lasts about 3 days, about 72 hours. And if you're in the elements, well, it could be a lot sooner. If you are in a densely populated area with bears or moose, you could also die sooner. But let's just say the rule of thumb is 72 hours or 3 days. That's why you should always pack your gear to have 3 days worth of food, of water, and something like a garbage bag. Some people don't even think about this, but a garbage bag, something that's waterproof, because look around me right now, it is raining. So something like a garbage bag could technically save your life. Imagine building a shelter and your roof is just constantly leaking, and a garbage bag could have stopped that. Just little things to think about. Now, outside of survival, why would the thing on your wrist really matter? Why would you want an automatic or a digital? Why would you want an analog or a compass watch? Well, maybe you could say that, well, you would want an automatic analog watch because it's going to last you a lot longer. And I can hear what you're saying. You're saying, Chase, automatic watches are not very durable. Well, let's talk about it. Now, each of the watches has its own pros and cons. Clearly, an automatic watch is something that's going to run forever until it's damaged or until it needs servicing. Well, if we're talking 3 days in a survival situation, an automatic watch is just fine. And I can hear what you're saying, Chase, but a digital compass watch could be even better. Well, I can tell you that I've been in the deserts of Iraq and in the oceans of the Pacific and Atlantic, and I can tell you that the thing about technology is technology will always fail. I haven't had anything, whether it's military issued, whether it's government issued, or bought myself, that hasn't failed in some way, or you've had that event that's caused it to fail, right? Technology is always bound to fail. That's why you could go spend $80,000 on a brand new Lexus that has 37 or 38 computer modules and one fails, and then suddenly they all fail. Now, this is not saying you should only buy an automatic watch or only buy a digital watch. Each one, like I said, has its pros and cons. So maybe a digital compass watch is the best bet for you, especially if you're someone who does land nav all the time and you go into sketchy places. But let's talk about the other 2 first and why you may want those. Now, the Boderry is a great watch. It's a full titanium with a titanium bracelet, which means it nearly disappears on your wrist, and if you put something like a NATO strap on it, then it will disappear under your shirt, under your sleeve, under your sweater with no problem at all. And just like always, when you pack for a trip, you should always pack light, never pack heavy. So something like the Boderry is packing light. Now, something like the Explorer, that is that classic Explorer design we've all come to love. That has just a little more heft. It is a 316L stainless steel, and it does have more of a chunky bracelet. But again, you put that thing on a NATO strap, and it's going to disappear on the wrist. Now, the great thing about something like a field watch, right? A field watch is something that has to have good water resistance, good durability, and it has to be clear and legible when using it. Now, you can use a standard analog field watch to even find what north and south is just by looking at the sun and making sure the accuracy of the movement is good enough to keep decent time. You can find your way out of almost anything if you can find the sun. And I say that because just take a look around me right now. You wouldn't know that the sun is right over there. And I only know that because the cloud cover wasn't this thick, and I got a quick shot of it just before it thickened up. But in a situation like this, it'd be really difficult to find the sun. So that little thing I'm going to teach you in just a second may not work always. So let's talk about the Boderry watch and the movement inside. That's the NH35. Now the NH35 is a pretty decent movement, right? It's plus or minus 15 to 30 seconds a day. That's not really accurate in the long term, but it's accurate in the short term. Now as long as before you leave your car, you make sure that the time lines up well with your phone, well, it's going to be pretty accurate for the next week. You don't really have to worry about it misaligning with the sun. So let's talk about that right now. Now let's just say I leave the car and I start heading in a southward direction or northward direction into the woods, and I need to find my way back to the car. Let's say I get turned around and I need to find due south. Well, how would I do that? Well, what I would do is I would lay the watch horizontally and I would align the hour hand of the watch with the direction of the sun. The point approximately midway between the 12 o'clock position and the hour hand when aligned with the sun is south. Now, is it true south? It's going to be off a couple degrees, but it's going to get you in the direction you really need to go. And that's actually pretty cool. You can do that with any watch. Now, of course, like I said, that's not perfect. That's not a perfect way to find south, but it will get you in the right direction. So let's just say you have the Avtrek then. Now the Avtrek is a compass watch, and you can calibrate it in the field or just before you leave, and it's pretty accurate. If I have a standard compass next to it, this is going to be off by maybe a single degree, but that's not really enough to get you off track when needing to go back to where you came from. Now let's talk about the Avtrek. Now I've done a review on the Avtrek in the past. Now the Avtrek is, yes, a compass watch. It offers multiple time zones. It offers a step counter, which is good when it comes to pace counting. Pace counting in the military is when I know that if I step 64 of my standard steps, that's 100 yards. So for me, during land navigation, if I have like a map in front of me, I can easily tell where I am. So it's got a step counter on it. It's got a timer, it's got a stopwatch, it's got an altimeter, it's got a barometer, right? I don't need a barometer to tell me it's raining, but it's got a barometer. It's got all this stuff attached to it, and it's only 80 to 100 bucks, I think, on Amazon right now. So that's a pretty damn good deal. Now you can calibrate the compass before you leave or even in the field, and it's only off by, I think, a single, maybe 2 degrees on a standard magnetic compass, which is pretty good for a digital compass, especially one that's so cheap. So then it comes down to what watch should you carry out in the field. Well, I would say always do the rule of twos, right? 1 is none, 2 is 1. You should always have 2 of everything. And that's just a rule of life, right? You should never have the bare minimum because something is bound to happen, right? Just like I said, when it came to technology, I've been all over the world and something is bound to break when you least expect it. So what I would say is carry your favorite watch first and then carry a secondary. If your favorite watch is going to be the Boderry, have that on your wrist on a NATO strap so it disappears underneath that cuff, and then toss the Avtrek in your bag just in case something happens. Same thing with the Explorer. Now, I like the Explorer. I love the look of the Explorer. I love the simplicity of the Explorer. I love the fact that it could be out in the field. It's rugged, it's durable. It can be out here in the middle of nowhere, or it can be in a suit. I love that about the Explorer. But it's not my favorite. Now, what do you guys like about the watches that I've mentioned here? The Boderry is great because it's titanium. It's pretty light. The Cronos Explorer is that classic design of the Rolex Explorer, an homage, and the Cronos is a great watch. It's durable, it's extremely tough, and it looks great. And the Avtrek I've had now for 3 years. I've worn it as a police officer multiple times. It's perfectly fine. It works just fine. I've never once gotten a new battery for it, and it still has years of life left in it. And I've used it out in the field just like we are right now, because in the end, I want to be able to find my way out. So I'm going to take the digital watch myself first, and then I'll leave the automatic watch fully wound, of course, in my bag. And that's just me. What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell. I got a lot of videos coming out in the future. I really want to hear what you guys have to say. These watches right here are actually going to be linked down below in the watches for sale that I've reviewed, because I got other things coming and I want to do one last review on them before I gave you guys the opportunity to buy them. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.